what we're going to make today is a troll cross belt buckle. I'll put up a little image here about the troll cross in case some of you want to know. You'll see that right now. This is forged out of a 12-inch piece of 1/4-inch mild steel, with the exception of the prong, and that's just an old nail that I've pulled out of something. 2 forge welds. It's really a fairly simple project, so stick around and we'll see what we can do about forging a troll cross belt buckle. Let's get it. I'm going to start out with 12 inches of 1/4-inch rod because I don't know any better. First thing I'm going to do is cut it off here at the 2-inch mark. Now this piece does not have to be 2 inches long. You'll see why when we get there. And I'm pretty sure that 10 inches is about what I start with on these, but if not, we will certainly see in a little bit. We can always change it when we get there. So first thing we're going to do is put a taper on each end. Probably about 2 inches of it. Yeah, 1 3/4, 2 inches of it. Just taper it out. And we'll start off by putting a short taper on the end. Take the square to an octagon. Hit those corners. Go to 16. Pretty much round. Now let's do the same thing to the other end. Now we'll start a little bit of a scroll on those ends. Now I'm going to make these pretty tight. Try to keep it round. And both of those go the same direction. And that's enough for now. Now I want those coils to be on the inside after I bend it and cross them around. So I'm going to start with them on the outside like that. Now I'm going to get a bending jig. I want this to fit a 1.5-inch belt. There, this ring, you can't hardly see it on there, I don't think, but this ring is 1 9/16 inches. I want a little bit of slop there. So it doesn't fit so awful daggone tight on my belt. Now you can bend it around a 1.5 inch circle and then maybe open it up a little bit. But this is the easiest way to go. You have something just slightly bigger. And we'll split that about in half. Yeah, let's get some more heat on it. Now we'll make them curls a little bit bigger. I know those look long to begin with, but making those scrolls on the end, it doesn't take very long to use up a bunch of stock. Now we'll finish that circle out a little bit more. There we go. Take that out of there so you can see what I'm doing. How about that? I'm just bending both of those around each other to get those scrolls on the same plane. And there we have our troll cross. Now is when we need that small piece. Now we just take just a little bitty bite of that. Doesn't take very much. And just flare out the end of it like that. And that's what we'll weld for the cross piece on the belt buckle. Now we're going to measure the other, where it needs to be on the other side, by setting it on there. And actually, it's just about the right length. So 2 inches was what I needed, I guess. So I'm just going to go ahead and set that other side down just like I did that one. If it hangs over, you can set it on there like that, give it a little rap with your hammer. That'll put a divot in the back of it, and then you know where to cut it off. Like I say, that one is pretty close to being the right size. If it's not long enough, you can draw it out just a little bit when you get done. And if it's too long, you can just shave a little bit more off of it on the corner of the anvil there. That looks pretty good. Now we're going to weld it on there. I'm going to hold that with that pair of tongs just like that in the fire, get them both up to temperature, and then tack weld them on. And then flip it around, make sure I'm still even. It looks pretty good right there. Make sure I'm still even. And then tack the other side, and then I'll finish welding them both. Try to blend them in a little bit. Now today, for this welding, I'm going to use some experimental flux called Z-Weld Plus. As you can see, this is welding compound for gas forge welding, and also for in coal or coke forges. Now, according to, I don't know if you can, I'll get that as close as I can. You can pause it and read if you want. According to Larry Zeller of Zeller Forge in Lanesville, Indiana, because of the chemical makeup of this flux, it will not drip inside your gas forge and damage the lining. Z-Weld Plus contains virgin iron powder. So this is the same, I believe it's the same as the Z-Weld, which I've been using that for a while. It seems to be pretty good flux. It's the same as the Z-Weld, except it has some iron powder in it. I've got a length of chain that I forged up at demos last year that I used Iron Mountain flux in, and every weld on it, the flux leached out after a while and left white residue on the links. We'll see how this does. Gonna get my fire back up good here. Now I've got my usual wintertime forge welding set up here. I've got this little anvil that I don't know where I got. It's a Grizzly anvil. I'll set it right here. It's real handy when you're welding up small stuff like this. Zeller Forge. The instructions for Zeller Forge are to bring it up to a red heat and then apply your flux. He does see to clean the steel as you would. So do that. And a little bit goes a long way. And the color of my flame tells me I'm getting close to temperature. I'm going to be looking for a green colored flame. If I can see it, there's quite a little bit of wind out here today. And there it is. So, let it soak for just a second. And I'm pretty sure that side tacked. But we're going to give it just a little bit more. Now let's see if it welded. Well, it didn't fall off. We'll put it that way. Now we'll weld the other side. And we'll put a little bit more flux on that and finish welding it over here on the anvil. And there it is, all welded up. I think it looks pretty nice. Now the belt buckle, a basic belt buckle consists of 4 parts. The frame, the prong, otherwise called a pin, the bar, this is the frame, this is the bar. We need to make the pin yet. This belt buckle does not have a chape. A chape would normally come off of this end and it would be riveted to the belt, but this type of belt buckle does not have a chape. So now I'm going to make the prong. Usually what I make those out of is just an old nail. And when I say nail, I mean nail. That's just a nail I've pulled out of something. I just cut the head off just now. Now we'll make the prong out of it. We need just a little bit over 3/4 of an inch of it, or about 3/4 of an inch of it actually, to wrap around the bar. Get that out of your way so you can see what the heck I'm doing. I'm just flattening a section of that out. And that ought to do it. Now with that bar sitting across my hardy hole like that, I'm just going to hook this on there, flip it over and bend that around there just like that. Now you don't want it real tight, you don't want it real loose. Now we need to cut that nail off just a little bit past the end of it, not a whole lot. And then I'll take a file and I'll round that off, and you don't need to see me cut that with a hacksaw and file it, so I'll be right back. And there we go. I cut that off, took a file to it, rounded it up a little bit so it's not got a sharp point on it. And there we have a belt buckle. A troll cross belt buckle. I'll do a little bit more wire brushing on this and we'll be back. And there's the finished product, a troll cross belt buckle. In a 1.5 inch belt.